Today we're going to deal with the fall of Satan and his angels. Now this is the red dragon that knocks a third of the stars from heaven out of Revelation 12:4. So I want to talk a little bit about the origin of Satan, and then I want to talk about the angels, okay? The origin of Satan has really been problematic in Old Testament study. I remember for most of my 50 years of studying the Bible, I was told that Isaiah 14 and Ezekiel 28 were talking about Satan. But friends, if you read that, it specifically says it's the King of Tyre and the King of Babylon. Now, we are using Garden of Eden imagery to describe the arrogance and pride of those Oriental kings. I remember when this became more and more uncomfortable for me is when I realized that in Ezekiel 31, the Pharaoh of Egypt is called the knowledge of the tree of life. Wow. So even Pharaoh is using Garden of Eden imagery to describe himself. That's when I realized that we're pushing Ezekiel 28 far too far. The problem is Satan does fall out of heaven, but he's in heaven so much. He's certainly in heaven talking to God in Job chapter 1 and 2. He's certainly in heaven talking to God in Zechariah 3. That's the post-exilic period. So the question comes, when did Satan fall? Now, although I cannot pinpoint the origin and purpose of evil, I'm assuming that Satan did fall because I believe God is perfect and does not create corrupt things. So the theology has to be normative that Satan was created to serve God, and yet he rebelled later. As a matter of fact, a little book that has helped me think through this has been a book by A.B. Davidson, Old Testament Theology, page 300 to 306, where he documents that Satan is a servant in the Old Testament, but becomes an enemy by the time of the New. So we're dealing with that apparently angelic creature, though that again is not certain, that gives human beings an opportunity to rebel, who opens the possibility of disobeying God. And once they do, his task is accusing them before God. That is exactly what Satan means, the accuser, the devil, to throw something across one's path, meaning an accusation. So we have an evil one. We're not real sure about its origin or even his purpose, but he's real and alive and lives on planet Earth. And then he has a group of angels. Now, what are these angels about? Is that the source of New Testament demons? Well, let's first try to look where in the Old Testament could we say that Satan fell. Now, following, there's a lot of lists, and I can't be certain which it is, if any of these. Number one, did Satan fall before Genesis 1:1? Was it a pre-creation rebellion? Number two, did Satan rebel between Genesis 1:1 and Genesis 1:2? That's the gap theory, that God doesn't make anything that's not perfect. So since the earth isn't perfect, he must have created one and it fell first. There's no biblical evidence for that. That is a very common view. In Job 1 and 2, Satan is in heaven, and God and Satan are not fighting. They're discussing Job. By the way, Job never knew about their discussion, but there he is in heaven. The same is true in 1 Kings 22:21. Here is God and Satan in the heavenly council with God. Many of us think that the us of Genesis 1 may be God in the heavenly council. Well, 1 Kings 22:21 is that heavenly council. Then Zechariah 3, where we're talking about Joshua. Now, not Joshua of the conquest, but Joshua of the line of the high priest, who along with Zerubbabel of the line of David brought back the exiles from Babylonian captivity. So we're in the post-exilic period. Satan is still in heaven, not fighting God, but talking to God about Joshua, the high priest. We also see that in Isaiah 14:12, Ezekiel 28:15, and 2 Enoch 29:4 and 5, we have these Oriental kings used in imagery that from the Garden of Eden, which is used of Satan for them. Now, what about during the New Testament period? You think with me now. When did Satan fall is the question I'm asking. Was it during the temptation of Jesus, Matthew 4? Was it during the mission of the 70? And that's Luke 10:18, where Jesus said, after they told him what they had done, I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven. It's specifically said there in Luke 10:18. In the New Testament, after the triumphal entry into Jerusalem, the ruler of this world has been cast out, John 12:31. Okay, what about at the end time? Revelation 12, that's where we're looking today. Revelation 12:7 was possibly Satan stormed heaven to try to kill the child. I often tell people, if you're expecting a red dragon to chase a pregnant woman across the night sky, you need to cancel your subscription to the Sci-Fi Channel because you've been damaged. That is imagery. That is apocalyptic Jewish imagery. We wouldn't take that literally. Holy moly, that's strange. Now, what is the connection between the fallen angels and the demonic? I really don't know. Friends, the Bible's just not specific about these things. Some think the demons, rabbis and New Testament scholars, think it comes from Genesis 6 in the combination of angels and humans that were killed in the flood. Well, that's a possibility, but it's also a possibility this 1/3 of the stars knocked out of heaven, which in Jewish apocalyptic literature always refers to angels falling. It refers to those angels there. A closing remark about Revelation 12. May I say to you, as interested as we are in this, when did Satan fall? Where do the demons come from? As interested as we are in this, that is not the subject of Revelation 12. We've got to be careful of taking the details of apocalyptic literature and trying to build doctrine on them. This context is not trying to give us the origin of the demonic. It's not trying to tell us the fall of Satan, and it's not trying to describe an angelic rebellion in heaven. It is not. Now, I want to close this session, this special topic, with this little paragraph, and I hope you'll think about this. This is a hermeneutical principle. In apocalyptic literature, the central theme of the vision is crucial, but the literalness of the presentation, the details, and the images are dramatic, symbolic, and fictional. It is our curiosity and Western thinking that motivates our detailed, logical, doctrinal formulations of these symbolic texts. Be careful of pushing the details of apocalyptic literature. It is too often done in Western ways and not in the Eastern apocalyptic language it was meant to do. It is true, but it is symbolically presented. Wish I knew more. I'd give it to you. I don't. Shalom.